Hi, well, so it's August 4th, it's 7 p.m. I took that half of an E yesterday. What time was it? 00:39. And I started feeling the effects slightly after 1. It was half a pill. It wasn't, I had taken 2 pills, like, I don't remember the day, the 13th maybe. And that was too much. Today I was shivering, I was chattering all night long, and like the sweat that came off of me drenched the bed sheet. So even a towel on top of it was drenched. Like it was just, and drenched means you can take it and wring it and get drops. So that's drenched. Yeah. Anyway, then my mom asked me yesterday why I even smoke weed, and it was a very good question. And right off the bat, I saw 2 answers. Okay, because we're talking about mind here. So I said there are 2 answers. I have 2 reasons, 2 answers, and I didn't say any more. I didn't suggest which one would you like to hear. Nothing. I left it up to her to talk about it. But then I changed the topic, and then I continued to change the topic. And after about 2 minutes, I brought it back to the question because I was still talking, and I said I didn't mean to distract from your question. If you're not happy with my answer, I'm happy to talk about it as long as you like. Oh, she was confused. Oh, actually, sorry, there was an intermission there. I had answered her question, then I sat down, then I waited for her to reply, and that was also the correct thing to do. But then I started hearing echoes in my head, and I recognized that they were a very top-level logical argument, so there was no way that I was actually reading her mind. However, if we share the same logical unit, then she was also having that argument in the deep unconscious of her mind. So I said something to her like, I'm not trying to offend you. Please don't tell me you're thinking that. And in saying those things, I had triggered her to think about offending me. But she didn't want to do that because she wanted to make the peace. So then she starts off with, no, I didn't mean to, I didn't want to. So now she's on the defensive right off the bat. And as soon as she's on the defensive, my next question is, well, did you want to talk more about why I go outside to smoke? And so my mom kept repeating, no, it was only a question. Geesh, it was only a question. It's only a question. Because she's on the defensive, and that's how it's going to sound. But when you're not on the defensive, it sounds more like, no, it was only a question. No, I'm just asking, curious about you, I just want to know how you are. So there's 2 ways to look at that. And by putting her into a certain frame of reference, I can anticipate what her perspective is that way. Now, I don't do any of that consciously. Like, dear God, I don't do any of that consciously. Like, the explanation of this is what, like 3 minutes and 19 seconds already. No, this is actually like, I actually understand this. It's like riding a bike for me. So you don't think about how you're going to ride a bike when you get onto riding a bike. And I have a pretty weird bike to ride. So, actually, when the bike brake broke, and I brought it to the Crock and Sprocket here in Aurelia, the guy, I said, treat it like it's your bike. What would you do on this bike to fix it if it was your bike? And then he gave me a total, and I was super happy. And then he wanted time. And I was like, dude, take as much time as you want. I got nowhere else to go to bring this bike. And he's like, no, I'm really busy right now. Like, can I have just a couple? I was like, we're speaking the same language. Just take as much time as you need. So then he emailed me because I don't have a telephone number. And then a few days later, it was fixed. The total he gave me was $80 to fix, like, the brake line was broken. Then he, not the brake line, the connector, the clamp that holds the brake line, it had bent open a little too far, or the U-bar where the brake line runs through, it had eroded too much on the side over the 20 years that it's been sitting in the basement. No, I mean, it's an old bike, so things are expected. And Fisherman in Taiwan made it. And then I want to advertise the Fisherman. I think it's really cool. And I mean, the bike is really cool. And I think he's got real skill to make that. So it was made out of love. And that's why we're advertising it. It's definitely not, I mean, it's a unique bike in the world. And I picked it up for 400 Canadian, maybe. Maybe. Yeah, I don't spend a lot of money on stuff. I just get a lot of weird stuff. And it's very functional. It works. So anyway, he wanted to brake test the bike, and he didn't know how to get on to ride it. So his workmate was telling me when I was getting on, he was carefully watching me how I get on to go. And I'm still at the point where I got to hang on to something before I can push off. So like, you know, a normal bike you get on and then you hold your handlebars. Well, this bike you actually have to sit on. Then you got to put one foot over top of the handlebars. Then you got to hold the brake with your right hand because you're leaning back. Then you got to put your other foot over the other brake and put both feet on the pedal while you're staying still. And then you put your other hand on the brake, which you had to let go so that you could get your leg over top of the handlebars. And it's just, you know, this is the people that ride on their bicycles and they do these balancing acts, and it's just, if I had that kind of balancing ability, I could probably ride my bike better. But I don't. I'm just a normal guy, so I have to hang on to something. So I hang on, get myself go up, and then I go. That makes stopping at intersections a problem, which usually means I'm the guy that's doing circles behind the cars or through the intersection to trying to not stop because I can't start again when I. Anyway, so those are my bike adventures. Now, I do politely, though, I do try to abide by the rules of traffic, and I no longer have to carry my rainbow umbrella with me. I am at intersections. If I have to stop, I can figure it out better than leaning on my rainbow umbrella, which is why I had that in the other video. And the winds here also broke my umbrella. But that's on top of the umbrella that I'd already lost in Vancouver, so I'm 0 for 2 right now. Did learn the name of the street that I think John lived on, and that was Vancouver Street, apparently. My mom reminded me today. She randomly asked when I started smoking pot. And I told her, no, it's 2011. I wasn't in high school. Are you kidding me? If I would have smoked pot in high school, life would have been a lot better, probably. So, anyway. Yeah, pot has a weird way of working. Like, it's cool. One pothead who I met in high school when I was a supply teacher in the high school, Eastview Secondary School, and he was a student. And he said, whoa, man, what's that called? And I was like, what, perspective? I think your eyes, my eyes, those are two different perspectives. And so I guess we connected on that kind of level there when he was high. So he was totally tripping out about that one. That was awesome. Can you imagine that, though? Go to high school and you learn about dual vision. Oh, when they will finally start teaching that. So, this is going to be vlog52. It's going to be my only vlog today. I'm watching the Olympics with Mom. That half of an E was okay. Gave me an okay rest. I got up at 11:30. It's not too bad, considering I did a video till 3. And then, didn't feel like eating. The cat ended up throwing up this morning and had diarrhea. Good shits, though. Really good shits. After magic mushrooms, best shits of your life. So, just remember to dose it accordingly so that you're not over, like, poisoning your body, but you're going to clean out your body really good. Like, if you want the elimination method of toxins from inside your body, forget about monkeying around with antioxidants and all the stuff that people give names to and they don't even know what it means. Forget all that stuff. So there's different kinds of magic mushrooms, I guess. Because the one kind I was eating in a YouTube video, I pulled the YouTube video down. I should repost that now. No, I can do that if I find the video, which is in Vancouver on my hard drive. Shitty. Anyway, so I've been separated. I'm kind of scattered around here somewhere, so the internet's a good filing cabinet. Anyway, having said all that, onto the public record. Sometimes there's just not a lot of thinking going into things. Oh, what I wanted to do. So let me continue this video in just one moment. Oh, and the shrooms, yes. Some of them, I ate about 3/4 of an ounce, to be honest with you. Didn't eat the whole bag. Really good trip. So I wasn't hallucinating. I thought I would hallucinate. but I guess I've wound my mind to the point that I'm not can't. Well, there were extra dimensional hallucinations. So that was really cool. Good trips. Good trips. Good trips. The other mushrooms, bad trips. Really bad trips. Really bad trips. Really like horrible, like death mushroom bad trips. Okay, so those mushrooms definitely do never take. And because not only were they cleaning out the rear of me, they were also cleaning out my esophagus and everything else. I mean, my poor kid. I was ready to call the ambulance. And my kid stood beside me and said, "Nah, just wait there, you'll get it all out." Oh my God. You know what it's like to have your 17-year-old kid watching over you while you're 47 and hugging a toilet because you ate too many magic mushrooms? I mean, and then I was already throwing up for a whole hour. Like, whoa, I was like empty. I think the last thing I threw up was like the day before was breakfast or something. Lunch. Was it the brunch? Yeah, it was a BLT from Tim Hortons. I was just... So, this is vlog52. So I did a good job with these vlogs. I've put basically the whole chunk of... Here's my head. Since you're never going to be able to dissect it anyway, it's just... It's non-dimensional. I like the way that Joe is his name, at Waypoint. Oh, I love Joe. Joe's a really nice guy. I'm not gay, by the way, just so you know. Joe is the rec therapist. No, social worker. More than a therapist. He was like the rec coordinator there at Waypoint when I was there in 2014. And the judge had just given me a copy of the Criminal Code of Canada. It's a brown cover copy, and inside are his initials, JD. And he gave that to me on, what was it, the 8th of July. 2014. Barrie Courthouse, 75 Mulcaster Street, and he was the officiating Justice of the Peace in the Barrie Courthouse that day. I believe it was the 8th of July, 2014, and his initials were JD, and he gave me his brown hardcover copy of Martin's Criminal Code. I think it's Martin's, I remember, with the guitar strings. And then, so if we see pictures of guitar strings, I mean, like, that's how you match things up. That's how memory works. That's how that guy is able to remember, like, over 100,000 digits of pi. He has just tapped his unconscious and is sending himself, like, literally a visual picture story that is retranslating into numbers, guys. That guy can win the lottery if he wants to, so easily. Oh my God. If he just had the belief in the ability, he could do it. He could easily. Because the lottery numbers will be formed in the subconscious before they're expressed physically. So you are able to see that as a reflection in your own subconscious if your subconscious is clean. And I was really focusing on doing a dream study for like a year and a half. Oh my God, I recorded every single dream I had at night, like every single dream. And then I would type them up all day long, and that would be like basically my whole job. So I really went after this whole lottery winning thing at night, using the dreams at night. And from A Course in Miracles, you have psychic abilities, blah, 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 blah. It gives you the choice of how to use them, but it tells you have them, so that's important. Anyway, so tried all that. And then, you know that you're looking at the lottery numbers. Like, I know I'm looking at the lottery numbers. Every single night, in every single dream, I know that I'm looking at lottery numbers because that's my focus, period. I was writing scripts to remember that throughout my thinking every day, just the way A Course in Miracles programs people to think about this world as not being real. I had rewritten that whole workbook exercise to be a 100% sustained focus on the world is not real. I can dream of lottery numbers. I will have the winning lottery numbers. And it was just, but my mind wasn't clear enough to get the reflection. So the issue was my own. We all share the same unconscious ability. I mean, that's a given. It's also written in the Course in Miracles, but it's really a given. We know that because we share this common existence, and it's consistent, and consistency applies to itself first, which comes from a constant state. So we have the same ability. Now, the thing that I wanted to say about the lottery numbers, I was really going back and forth there for a long time. I was deciding, well, if there is a God, is it better to go with God or to try to get the lottery numbers by myself? And for some reason, I was really having a difficult time with this. I mean, I was really having a difficult time with that. But, it also says that all of your talents will be used by and for God, for you. So, what I was really doing, I mean, more than anything anyone else has ever done, without having my physical reality as my focus, I had focused exclusively on the lottery. I have done the world's most complete, unconscious, comprehensive lottery study ever. And it's over a year of me recording every dream I've ever had at night. And then I even typed most of them up already. And then I wrote down all the lottery numbers that it applied to. I could have had a little bit of a better organizational system for that, but I've definitely laid the groundwork for anybody who wants to study this. And they can then, if they use random volunteers for a week at a time and do a sleep study just with the volunteers who are already able to remember their dreams, then through those volunteers they should be able to get, the lens will still be specific to that volunteer, but if you get enough claimed psychic volunteers, because the government does have, we're not going to deny this anymore. There's a movie called Third Eye Spies, and the content of that movie is true. It's a documentary. You should check it out. So, and it's on YouTube, so it's not against YouTube, but it's a good movie, and it does show that the governments do have use spies, psychic spies, people that can just sit in a chair, close their eyes, and they will be able to see your surroundings, and all they need is basically your any piece of official identification from their government. You can post a picture online and they'll take it and say, who is this? And then boom, you can get a psychic to nail in on that. If an individual happens to have a unique name in the world, like me, well, then you need nothing more than the name. Go figure. So we've had some interesting mental conversations that way, except of course the psychiatrists say that these conversations aren't supposed to have happened. So, but if anyone really wanted to do a dream study, those individuals would be that same, wherever they're getting their pool of individuals from to become that. That same pool would also yield the best subjects for a dream study on being able to foretell the lottery numbers. And that is definitely something that the government would want to know, because the government should want to know if somebody can come up and win the lottery, because then, you unlimited terrorist funding. So you don't want to have somebody from a poorer country come up and be able to win the lottery like that with their dreams, because it also is demonstrating a clear disconnect from the Canadian Constitution defined three-letter word, God. So I just want to say, there are legitimate reasons to have international spy agencies. And naturally, they also understand that they are after the same peaceful goal, and so eventually they must shake hands and speak. And in so doing, they will be surprised that the other has even more information about them than they knew, because of these psychic spies. And I mean, I am a link between everybody, and don't you think that people are already noticing me? I mean, it's not like I have 0 views across the board anymore. People are starting to notice, and some of these, what do you call them, shorts. I mean, the only thing I'm really advertising here are the titles. Everything else is a click. And if God needed you to click on anything in order to get a message to you, heaven forbid, we'd never get anywhere. So just think about that, okay? And then wonder why things are a little bit erratic. I mean, if they're erratic, it's like flashing lights. You're going to notice the erratic things quicker than other things. And if you want to be noticed, such as I do, then, that reminds me. And I answered my mom's question today. I went inside, and I was really, really heartfelt thankful. Because my mom's question, although I had answered that I understand 2 ways, reasons why I smoke. Right off the bat, I should know that that's a wrong answer, because the answer is always one. But if I can say that there are two, then I should also recognize that not only is my thinking false, but I'm also technically lying. Anyway, I found the reason of my mom's answer, and that answer was one of caring. And it was, I don't think you really need this, because you seem like you're the same when you smoke it and when you don't smoke it. I mean, you're not bouncing off the walls like I thought. You're not doing anything weird, and as a matter of fact, your communication has increased, and you're more helpful, and you're more considerate of others, or at least thinking about it as an after effect when you see an action that you should have taken but didn't, out of moral greed. Greed. You were morally greedy, so you neglected to help your mother carry the laundry upstairs when you said goodbye to her at the door on your way going out to go smoke again. And then I went back upstairs inside, and I knocked on the ground 2 times, and I said, "Hey Mom, I just want to say I'm sorry." No, she wasn't talking to me. There's no reason to reply to something like that. "You were downstairs holding the laundry. I should have carried that upstairs. I'm sorry." She said, "That's okay. Don't worry about it." First personality. Remember, I told you there are 4. Durar at San Ann Hotel, 180 West Georgia Street. He was the hotel front manager at the time, my very, very good friend. He was the first person to actually tell me that there are 4. And he told me that at about 4 p.m., so remember Renee, 4 p.m., at about 4 p.m. on the 16th of June, 2024. And if you want to read about that, you can find it in the email. There's a hot link for it even. It's 10 days later, okay? So 26june.2dream.ca. Yep, that's my friend Durar. So I mentioned, I think, that in that email. I mentioned his name in that email. So he was the one that told me there are 4. And the first one said, "It's okay, don't worry about it." And I said, no, Mom, I really mean it. I mean, I'm a younger body. I have a younger body than you do. And I'm more than happy to help you, especially for something that's far easier for me to do than you. And I didn't have to go into the whole, "You've been helping me so much and you do way," I didn't, that's just, if you're actually talking to somebody, you don't even have to say any of that. So, that's the second one, okay? Second one says, I usually ask Sanjay. Now, each person has only 2, because those are the logical extremes. So we know ourselves with 2 personalities. But I'm telling you, they have a reflection, an eternal counterpart, which is in our imagination, and our imagination is a collectively unconsciously shared state, which is also an experience, because it's from something we don't understand, and experience is the next level up from state. So we are, I think, anyway, maybe there's something in between. Let's just let it go at that. And we're going to go through the second personality to the third one. The third one is the reflection of the second in the eternal field, and the fourth one is the same as the third, but the fourth one's the reflection of the first one in the eternal field. The fourth one and the third one have to be in agreement, which means you can't have any blame ever. 0. So your own internal logic circuit is going to frizzle out at the idea of blame. The end. That's the end of your internal logic circuit. And then what happens when it dies? Well, the only other thing I know that frizzles out like that is a spark. The thing that usually happens to a spark, when it hits the right end, it turns into fire. When it hits the wrong end, it like just hits the asphalt and goes out. Asphalt man. But it hits the right end. Then you're looking at what I have also considered to be like a live electrical wire. And that thing usually just like waves around, jumping on the ground like a snake. So if you see a person that's a little bit like a live electrical wire that's sparking, those kind of sparks, just go up and ask them, say, "Hey, how's your day?" And he might tell you some things that you could do to work together, or he might just say, hey, how are you? And then if you say, well, I'm doing all right, and he says, all right, good, well, me too. And then I'm off to this, and then I'm gonna go off to that. Just because I say I'm off to it doesn't mean I want you to come, doesn't mean I don't want you to come, doesn't mean you have to come, and it doesn't mean you don't have to come. What does it mean? So there's different ways of thinking about stuff. We got a lot of empty holes in our head, and those holes are like for planning our future, and we can actually have an active choice in doing that. So my mom said, and then I said, well, I'm here too now, so whenever you need anything lifted, just let me know. She said, okay. And I said, well, that wasn't enough. Inside I'm thinking, I was like, no, that's the wrong thing. I mean it, Mom. Just point at it and tell me to lift it. Just tell me to put it wherever. And that was a more clear, direct way. And then she gave me the other okay. So that's usually how my talking to people goes. And then I usually maintain that cool, constant equilibrium. And that equilibrium is usually also called the reassurer, because when people come up to me, they know that it's all okay. Somehow when they leave me, they always feel all okay. So we figure out their problem, and then we go solve it, and then find a way to it, and then give them the choice of, do they want to walk it or not. But at least it's been solved in a recognizable way that they can identify. And that way puts my perspective not on the blame part, but on the healing, solving part, which is exactly where it should be. At least, according to psychiatrists, who are currently the villains of the story. So we're in a little bit of a crosshairs there. And coming, making that nice, smooth transition down. I had that thought outside here, and this is actually why I went to go grab that camera, and I'm going to go smoke my bong in a second, so just hold on there with your horses. So I'm part of this Facebook group called Passenger Rights, and it really bothered me that I was escorted off the airplane on the 4th of July by the police officers in Toronto, Air Canada Flight 186. Arriving Toronto from Vancouver, departing Vancouver at 21:55. I was in seat 36F. There was a stewardess there, and she kept saying, please stop recording, please stop recording, please stop recording. And I was just so confused. I was just logically like, please stop recording. I'm like, it's my phone, my environment, and my environment is asking me to stop something else in my environment. And I was just like, oh boy, just confused. Because psychiatrists tell me that my environment is not supposed to talk to me like that. I'm not supposed to have referential delusions that are specifically identifying just me as an individual. So I had to absolutely refuse. That is what I need to write in the passenger group. Now, I did think about a lot of stuff that was also good to write in that passenger group. But if I leave it just as a simple little video, I might make 2 videos today after all. Come back and check out 53. Vlog 53. Oh, and the title is gonna say wedding.2dream.ca. No, well. Well, if I'm going to advertise myself as a crazy person, then I should definitely do the Hitler Belt proposal, because that is the most crazy sounding. And that's at hbp.2dream.ca, or I can rename that to Hitler2dream.ca. I'll tell you what a forgiveness lesson was. Honestly, it was like learning that Hitler was also me in a past life. That was a forgiveness lesson. There was a lot of forgiveness lessons because technically everybody is also me in a past life. So see, it wasn't such a big deal. You guys were Hitler too. So just calm down, okay? We're gonna figure this out. The other thing I said to my mom then, speaking loudly, was, Mom, I go outside to smoke just to get ideas. It's like, personal prayer time, Dama, for prayer. Except... yeah, that used to, so... I'm not religious like you guys are. It has to logically make sense for me. So when I tried to get confirmed when I was 12 years old at the Lutheran church in Barrie, one of them. This was a long time ago, so the minister's no longer there. But the minister couldn't answer my questions about Jesus and some of the other stuff he was saying in church. And then he finally told me to go ask the guy himself. It's like, okay, so I don't have to go to church anymore. Wrong thing to say to a kid who's 12 years old, like seriously. Anyway, honestly, best words of my life, because I no longer felt pressure or need to follow in my mom's footsteps about the whole religion thing. So I have learned that Allah and Holy Spirit are very close in similarity ideas, except that Allah includes the concept always that the Holy Spirit and God are one, whereas the Holy Spirit does not include that concept because it looks at God as a trinity. And a trinity is clearly not a unity. So, on the order of religions, you have, like, for consistency of unity, the trinity is down below unity, okay? I'm just throwing it out there. Oh, dear God. And these people actually, like, they think that they're, like, running the planet? Like, really? Well, they're trying. It's a bit of like scrambled eggs at the moment. We're trying to make an omelet. Okay, but politely and nicely. So this is I get 53 to think up now. I'm gonna thinking time here, but it's bad for the body. And you got me, so you don't need to smoke. So just share this stuff. Make world peace, then you don't need to smoke. See?